This is again the Kunjed Gyalpo, translation by Valby. We're in chapter 10 called Perfections in Detail. And in the previous chapter, we read about the perfections as being the teacher, the teachings, and the retinue that's listening. They were called the three perfections. So the entire content of the Kunjed Gyalpo. Maybe you could also think of them as like the teacher, the Dharmakaya, the teaching, the Sambhogakaya, the lucid aspect, and the assembled retinue, the Nirmanakaya. I think we've read that before in here. Also, like Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. They're all together. So we'll learn about these. Let's see what they say. So it says, then the all-creating monarch, pure perfect presence, spoke about the essence of the state, the perfections. The all-creating monarch said, hey, Mahasattva, listen, because everything is assembled in me, the all-creator. All phenomena are called perfections, because teachers, teachings, and retinues arise from the three aspects of me, the all-creator. Everything is known to depend upon what is called the all-creator. And so these 10 introductory sections of the Kunjed Gyalpo are discussing phenomena. Everything that we've been reading is about how, after the introduction, the first 3 chapters, I think, everything is about how all phenomena are awareness, are the all-creating monarch, don't differ from Dharmakaya. They're all embodied in the she. Whatever manifests. So it says, first is the perfection of teachers. 3 aspects of my essence manifest from the self-originated wisdom of my all-creating state. They are said to be the 3 teachers of the 3 kayas. The 3 types of teachers are Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya. And it will say how these different kayas give their teachings. What are the teachings given by the Dharmakaya? Teachings given by the Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya. So it says, in the explanations of the essence of these teachers of the 3 kayas, first is the explanation of Dharmakaya. The essence of Dharmakaya remains beyond dualism. The essence of Sambhogakaya consists in the complete enjoyment of whatever is desired. The essence of Nirmanakaya consists in kaya emanations that provide education in various ways. So Dharmakaya, it says here, its essence is non-duality. It teaches by means of non-duality. Sambhogakaya, the cognizance, teaches by means of enjoying the cognizance. By painting, whatever is painted, enjoying painting itself. And Nirmanakaya basically teaches by words, by reading a text like we're doing now. By using explanations and concepts. So it says, the teachings of these teachers of the 3 kayas consist in 3 types, outer, inner, and secret. The teachings of the Dharmakaya teachers are as follows. Each of the 3 secret teachings, secret development, secret completion, and secret Dzogchen, explain the essence of the base, the pure real condition, in different ways. These 3 teachings are secret because they are not the experiential domain of anyone. And then the translator says, anyone without superior capacity. Hmm. Yeah, so it seems like what's happening here is we're mapping them to the 9 yanas. So here it says Mahayoga, we'll read next, Anu Yoga and Ati Yoga will be the Dharmakaya teachings, the secret. And then I assume the 3 outer tantras will be the Sambhogakaya, and then Shravakayana and Mahayana, Pratyeka Buddhayana will be the Nirmanakaya. So that's kind of neat. It's another way of thinking about the 9 yanas. It says here that these teachings are secret because they're not in the experiential domain. Yeah, what does that mean? So when there are Dharmakaya teachings, it's like pointing out, like direct pointing. So how would you express awareness to someone, like really show it to them without pointing? You can't. There's no such thing. You would explain it to them, but it wouldn't really hit the mark. And so how is there pointing out? Well, awareness is noticing awareness itself, right? It self-recognizes. It's self-originated and it self-recognizes. So that's not an experience. It's not something that you can communicate to someone else, really. Oh, bye, Leo. Yeah, be well. And this is actually the same as all experience. It was mentioned before, but if you see a tree and you point at the tree and you ask someone, do you see the tree? They'll say, yes. But you haven't really shown them the tree. You haven't communicated the essence of the tree. You pointed to it and they saw it for themselves. So in that way, the tree communicated itself. So in that sense, Dharmakaya communicates itself. So there's no real way to teach it. In the same way as you can't really teach someone to really have the experience of a tree without seeing a tree. Okay. So it says, because Mahayoga teaches the secret development of the 3 aspects of unborn contemplation, has the name secret development. The teaching of Anu Yoga, named secret completion, uses inner prajna, like wisdom, and does not have the Mahayoga concepts of the 3 aspects of contemplation. Followers recite the deity's main mantra using inner contemplation and prajna. They visualize that all phenomena, however they manifest, are the sense bases of their Vajra body, their condition as the primordial deity. Using view and behavior that transcend the duality of acceptance and rejection, they claim the state of the goal. Thus, Anu Yoga is named the secret completion of me. Yeah. And so remember that what we read before was that in Anu Yoga, the Dzogchen is the same as Dzogchen. There's just a small taint of believing that that is the result of practice. A cause is established to achieve the result of the Dzogchen view. So in the teaching of Secret Dzogchen, it says, all phenomena, however they appear, are pure perfect presence that does not need to be developed using the 3 aspects of Mahayoga contemplation, or be completed by reciting the letters of the main Anu Yoga mantra. I, the All-Creator, am Dzogchen. And thus, there is nothing not already perfected in me. My essence is explained using 3 aspects: essence, nature, and energy, which are the 3 different characteristics of Dzogchen, pure perfect presence. This completes the explanation of Secret Dzogchen, and thus is concluded the explanation of the 3 teachings of the 3 Dharmakaya teachers. The teachings of the Sambhogakaya teachers are the 3 series of outer tantras. Oh, good. which teach followers to perform actions. Followers of the Kriya Tantra teaching have the idea to perform actions. After beginning with non-conceptual contemplation, they cultivate the three purities using concepts of outer and inner. Based upon these concepts, they apply practices using the auspicious time periods of planets. Using the various methods of the 5 factors of manifest enlightenment, the 4 miracles, followers meditate the wisdom deity and themselves in the manner of Lord and servant, making offerings with the 3 purities. Although no other fruit exists through the application of these practices, followers of Kriya Tantra claim the siddhi realizations of body, speech, and mind. The meaning of this realization is that the concepts of ultimate and relative truth are understood to be magical illusions. Followers of Upaya Tantra dualistically make a separation between Yoga Tantra view and Kriya Tantra behavior. Using this dualistic approach, they claim to realize the unique state of Vajrapani. Their application of a separation between view and behavior, and their claim to realize a state that did not exist previously, is the same as a jackal reaching up into the objectless sky but not finding any solid food. And followers of Yoga Tantra, the third one, the most secret of the outer tantras, accept and reject. Using the 4 miracles, non-conceptual contemplation, blessings, empowerment, and offerings, they empower everything and meditate jhana sattva. After making outer, inner, and secret offerings, they apply the 4 mudras, body, speech, mind, and activities, hoping to obtain the desired siddhi realizations. Followers who apply acceptance, rejection, view, and behavior to maintain a contemplation that hopes for the desireless state will never realize. This concludes the explanation of the teachings of Sambhogakaya. So the teachings of the Nirmanakaya teachers are the 3 series of sutra, Shravakas, Pacheka Buddhas, and Mahayana, also called Bodhisattvayana. These vehicles are said to be outer because they emphasize outer characteristics. Yeah, like the fact of characteristics at all. Any claim of characteristics is already outer. So the essence of the 5 sense pleasures and the 5 wisdoms manifest from the essence of me, the all-creator. When the 3 poisons, attachment, aversion, and ignorance, arise, 84,000 doors to the Nirmanakaya teachings are taught as antidotes to overcome them. When the 5 types of sense pleasures, forms, sounds, smells, tastes, and tactile sensations, arise, the 3 types of poison, again, attachment, aversion, and ignorance, also arise. The teachings of the Tripitaka are taught as antidotes to overcome these poisons. And that would be like Sutra, Abhidharma, and actions, how to behave. So all the teachings, the 3 baskets, right? So the 21,000 teachings collected in the Pitaka of Vinaya, and that's like actions, moral code, vows. So these are taught as antidotes to overcome attachment. The 21,000 teachings collected in the Pitaka Sutra are taught as antidotes to overcome ignorance. 21,000 in the Pitaka of Abhidharma are taught as antidotes to overcome aversion. And 21,000 additional teachings collected from these 3 Pitakas are taught as antidotes to overcome the 3 poisons equally. In general, 84,000 doors to the teachings are taught for the purpose of providing antidotes to overcome the 3 poisons. The 84,000 doors to the 3 types of cause-oriented vehicles of characteristics. Cause-oriented vehicles of characteristics, that would be Shravakayana all the way through Mahayana. So the doors of these are the three Pitakas, Vinaya, Sutra, and Abhidharma. And these are said to summarize the meaning. Additionally, Sutra has 12 ways to explain the meaning of the different topics. The effects of birth in the three lower realms is understood to be produced from the cause of the three poisons. And this is explaining the Nirmanakaya teachings, right? So not the Dzogchen view, just to be clear. It says, when sentient beings apply the cause of good or bad actions, there is the respective effect of birth in either higher realms or lower realms. That's tough to say. This principle is very widespread within the cause-oriented vehicles of characteristics. These Nirmanakaya vehicles were taught previously, are taught now, and will be taught in the future. But Dharmakaya meaning that cannot be communicated by these vehicles was not taught previously, is not taught now, and will not be taught in the future by Nirmanakaya teachers. These three cause-oriented vehicles of characteristics are called Nirmanakaya teachings. Yeah. So like we talked about before, right? So being kind of mired in concepts without the pointing can be difficult. Then it's not really teaching. And it's learning about a bunch of concepts about Dharmakaya, about the basis, about awareness. And so, lately, Dawai has really called on us to not indulge so much in only the concepts, we might say. Make sure that it's balanced. Make sure that you have a practice. Make sure that you see self-liberation. It's possible to get too much into concepts and kind of lose the conduct. When we argue about the particulars of words, on one level, it can be interesting, but on the other level, make sure that the words mean something to you, that you know what they're talking about, because then you're kind of free from all these words. If you're adhering to a tradition, stick to the tradition. But for yourself, for just talking, then you can say it however you want. You don't have to pre-contrive special means of doing that. Then it's not a Nirmanakaya teaching when you're using words. Hey, Mahasattva! The three aspects of the essence of me, the all-creator, manifest as the three Kaya teachers, who are the first retinue. Following are the explanations of these retinues of the three Kayas, the three teachers. Hey, Mahasattva, listen. Here's the explanation of the retinues of the Dharmakaya teachers. These retinues, created by me, include all phenomena. My essence is the Dharmakaya retinue. There does not exist anything encompassed by the animate and inanimate universe of Buddhas and sentient beings that is not included in the retinues of Dharmakaya. Thus he spoke. So all phenomena, maybe you might think they should be in Nirmanakaya. But the Dharmakaya view is like the reflexivity of a mirror. So whatever is appearing in the mirror, it's always the mirror. It never differs from the mirror itself. And so in that way, whatever phenomena are arising are still arising by power of this Dang energy of the Dharmakaya. So it's not separate from that. We can speak of them as three Kayas, but that's just really a way of speaking. Yeah, Jobu.
This group still runs on synchronicities, yes?
Yes.
I was walking out of our room into the living room to tell Elliot it was time to get ready for bed, and I have you in headphones, and Alicia has you in headphones. And Elliot says, "When you came out, I was gonna say, 'Hey, Mahasatwa,' and you had just said it." So I thought that was great. I looked at Alicia like, "What in the world?" And I thought it was fun to share. I don't have any comments about the readings. I'm enjoying it very much, but I thought it was a fun synchronicity.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks for sharing. And hello. Hey, Mahasattva, listen. Following is the explanation of the red news of Sambhogakaya teachers, passing beyond the world onto spiritual levels through devoted application of the four phases. Bodhisattvas travel from the first spiritual level, the joyful level, to the 10th level, the cloud of Dharma. So these are the bhumis, right? The levels of the bodhisattva. So these bodhisattvas constitute the retinues of the Sambhogakaya. And following is the explanation of the retinues of Nirmanakaya teachers, the four types. Okay, I don't know any of these words, and sometimes when I read words I don't know, they're no words. So I will really hope that these are none of those. But it says the four types: Mutegpas, Mortugpas, Yangpenpas, and Chalpas continually deviate away from the path of unsurpassable enlightenment. When they are empowered by Tuji energies to transform their mental capacities, they become male and female ordained people and male and female lay people. Hmm. So that probably just means all the different views that people can have. These four types are probably different views. And then when they reach the Dharma, then they become practitioners. So it says these four types of disciples are the retinues of Nirmanakaya teachers. Thus he spoke. Hey, Mahasattva, listen. Here are the explanations of the dwelling places of each of the three Kaya dimensions, the abodes of the three Kaya teachers who manifest from me. Here is the explanation of the dwelling place of Dharmakaya teachers. Akanishtha, the citadel of Dharmadhatu, is the essence of the authentic reality that is not lower than anything. Or in other words, the dwelling place of awareness is awareness. There is no other dwelling place. It dwells in the Dharmadhatu, the womb, which is inseparable from itself, the great sphere. Here's the explanation of the dwelling places of Sambhogakaya teachers. Remaining above all worldly qualities, these celestial palaces, multi-storied mansions, are not lower than worldly places. These are also said to be Akanishtha places. And here's the explanation of the places of Nirmanakaya teachers. Nirmanakaya teachers, such as Shakyamuni Buddha, one of the 7 universal Buddhas, taught in the place named Vulture Peak. There are unspecified positive places where compassionate Tuji energies emanate. Thus he spoke. So remember, here it says that Shakyamuni only taught Nirmanakaya teachings, but you can decode the teachings with the Dzogchen knowledge. You can see that he was talking about exactly the same thing, but he gave teachings, he gave antidotes, he presented it to the audience. So in some ways, it's not really separable, right? If the teaching is authentic, it'll always produce all these different meanings, outer, inner, secret. But whether it's decodable by the audience, that's what really differs. Hey, Mahasattva, listen. I think this is a good place to stop. I think this goes on for a bit, right, Yeshi? This is the final chapter in whether all phenomena do or do not differ from awareness. Yeah, that looks like another session. All right, very good. That's a nice way of categorizing the nine yanas, right? Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya, and then outer inner secret. What do you do with that information? That's up to you. Have fun, hopefully. So the real impetus of this reading, is to thoroughly convince you, or at least point to all phenomena, no matter what arises, that all phenomena are contained within awareness. So if there's a little belief still wriggling around that there's a consciousness that perceives external objects, maybe see if that's the case. See if the objects really are external. See if the sounds really are coming from outside. It's a very subtle reorientation, but that's what this text is pointing at. That's the shift that it wants to have. Any comments or questions? These chapters are still pretty heady. It gets different because right after this, we go into the view. Everyone's good. You're all restful because you're falling asleep now. I got to yell that, hey, Mahasattva more loudly. All right, very good. So let's dedicate. So any merit we may have generated here today, there are sentient beings in this presence who are suffering. We can bring them to presence, give all the merit to them in a moment of silence. Thank you.